2 Corinthians 11:14. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. You know how parents are always telling you to be careful about the things you buy online? Well, I didn't listen, and I wish I had. It all started one rainy Saturday afternoon. I was sitting on my bed, my laptop balanced on my knees, scrolling through this strange online shop I'd never seen before. They sold the weirdest things: chipped porcelain dolls, wind-up clowns with cracked paint, puppets with glass eyes that seemed to follow you. I was about to close the site when something caught my attention: the La Boobus doll. It was different. Its head was slightly too big for its small, childlike body. Its pale face had faint shadows under the eyes, and the glass eyes themselves glistened unnaturally. The smile, if you could call it that, was stitched on, crooked and sly. But here's what drew me in the most: the box. It was beautiful. Bright swirling colors of red, gold, blue, and green covered the entire thing like a carnival. The front had a large clear plastic window showing the doll inside, and above it, big golden letters spelled La Boobus, your forever friend. On the back were colorful illustrations of the doll playing with children, having tea parties, reading storybooks, even playing hide and seek. And at the bottom, in neat handwriting, La Boobus keeps you company forever. It was so different from anything I owned. Without telling my parents, I clicked buy now. A week later, the package came. My mom handed it to me at the door with a confused look. "Another toy? We just cleaned out your closet." "I paid for it with my own money," I said quickly, hurrying to my room. In person, the box was even brighter, almost shimmering like fresh paint. For a second, I thought I saw the doll's eyes follow me as I turned it. When I slid it out of the box, an odd smell hit me, like a mix of old attic air and metal, almost like rust. I set the doll on my shelf and forgot about it. I woke that night to nothing. No sound, no movement. But I felt it, that prickly sensation of being watched. When my eyes adjusted to the dark, I saw it. The La Boobus doll was no longer on my shelf. It was sitting on my desk, facing my bed. I told myself I probably moved it earlier and forgot. I went back to sleep. Over the next few days, small things started happening. My bedroom door was cracked open in the morning, even though I shut it every night. I heard faint scratching noises in the walls. My toys were in different spots than I left them. But then something stranger happened, not just to me, but to my family. About a week after the doll arrived, everyone in the house started feeling heavy. Mom, who's usually cheerful and humming while she cooks, barely spoke. She started staying in her room more often. Dad, who loves watching his sports shows, left the TV off and just sat staring at the wall. Even my little sister Mia didn't want to play. She'd sit in her room coloring, but all her drawings turned darker. Storm clouds, crying faces, broken houses. The air in the house felt thick, like we were all underwater. I didn't tell anyone about the doll. Not yet. A few nights later, I woke to my closet door creaking open. Slowly, I froze. Peeking over my blanket, I saw the La Boobus doll standing just inside. I didn't scream, I couldn't. I just shut my eyes tight and prayed I was imagining it. The next morning, it was back on my shelf, but its head was tilted a little more than before, and the crooked smile seemed deeper. The doll started moving more often. I'd leave it in my room and find it in the hallway. I'd put it back in the box, but the next day it would be out again. And the smell, that rusty attic smell, was no longer just in my room. It was in the living room, the kitchen, even Mom's car. One night, I woke to hear slow, raspy breathing at the foot of my bed. When I grabbed my flashlight, the doll was sitting on my blanket, leaning forward like it had been crawling toward me. That's when I screamed. At first, my parents thought I was imagining things. But then Mom found the doll in the kitchen, right next to a butter knife, when no one had been in there. And one morning, Dad found it sitting on the stairs, facing upward like it was waiting for someone to come down. We all started sleeping worse. Arguments broke out over nothing. The whole house felt wrong. It was Saturday morning. I had slept on the couch again. Mom shook me awake, pale and shaking. She told me she'd gone into my room to get laundry and found the doll lying on my pillow, its stitched arms wrapped tightly around one of my socks. I hadn't touched it. That's when I told them everything. Dad grabbed the doll, shoved it into its colorful box, and stuffed that inside a thick garbage bag. We tied it shut and threw it in the trunk. On the way to the dump, the car filled with that smell. The box rattled once, and I swear I saw the bag shift. We didn't talk. When we tossed it into the garbage pit, the sunlight hit the box just enough to make the colors shimmer one last time. For a moment, it almost looked inviting again. We left quickly. Our house felt lighter almost immediately. Mom started humming again. Dad watched his shows. Mia drew sunshine and flowers. And me? I never bought anything creepy online again. Because if you ever see something like the La Boobis doll for sale, no matter how colorful or fun the box looks, remember this: not everything for sale is meant to be owned. Some things are not meant to find you. And if they do, you better hope you can get rid of them before they get rid of you first. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. Ephesians 6, 1-3. 2 Timothy 2:26, and that they may come to their senses and escape from the snare of the devil, having been taken captive by him to do his will. I wish I could say I was the type who thought before following internet trends, but I wasn't. One night in Megan's basement proved that some trends are more dangerous than they look. It started with a TikTok challenge, people sitting around a Ouija board, candles flickering, eyes wide as the planchette slid across the letters. The comments were a mix of LOL fake and this is real. Of course, my friends and I wanted to see for ourselves. On Friday night, it was me, Megan, Josh, and Tyler. Megan's parents were gone, her basement dark except for the glow of a dozen candles. Okay, Megan said, grinning, fingers on the thingy. The planchette, Josh corrected, smirking. We all touched it. Megan went first. Is anyone here with us? At first, nothing. I almost made a joke, but then, slow and deliberate, it began to move. J-E-S. Then I froze. Jess, like me? It slid to Y-E-S. Who are you? I whispered. Y-O-U-K-N-O-W. The air went icy. My skin prickled. The planchette began again. Let me in. Josh swore under his breath and pulled his hands away. Nope, done. But the planchette moved on its own, fast, slamming to goodbye. So hard it rattled the board. We laughed it off and called it a night. Day 1. That night, I woke at 3:12 a.m. to my bedroom freezing cold. In the corner, where my laundry basket should have been, stood a tall, still figure. I blinked and it was gone. But the next morning, my laundry basket was tipped over, and every light in my room was off. Day 2, Megan called me whispering. She said she woke to her closet door wide open, even though she always kept it shut. Her cat was sitting in the doorway, hissing at nothing. She hung up mid-sentence, saying she heard something inside the closet. Day 3, Tyler texted the group chat, "Stop messing with me." None of us knew what he meant. He said he got a FaceTime call at 2 a.m. from an unknown caller. When he answered, it was just darkness and heavy breathing. Then, someone whispered his name. Day 4, Josh stopped answering messages. Megan said she saw him walking to class, but his head was down, his steps slow, like he was listening to someone she couldn't hear. Day 5, I woke up with 3 long scratches across my forearm. My window was locked. My door was locked. Day 6, Megan and I were FaceTiming when we both heard it, another voice. Low, slow, speaking words we didn't understand. It wasn't hers. It wasn't mine. By now, I knew this wasn't a joke. I told my mom everything. She didn't yell. She just went very still, then said, "We're going to see Raven." Miss Raven was known at our church as Prayer Mom. She was the one people called when nothing else worked. When we walked into her living room, it felt safe, bright. She listened to every word. When I finished, she said, "Child, you opened a door. Now we close it." She had me bring the Ouija board from Megan's. She set it on the coffee table, laid her hand on it, and began to pray. Loud, commanding, like someone was being told to leave and never come back. She quoted Ephesians 4:27. "And do not give the devil an opportunity." I felt something lift, like a pressure I didn't realize had been sitting on my chest. When she finished, we walked to her backyard, where she burned the board in a metal barrel. The flames crackled, sending black smoke into the air. The dreams stopped. The knocks never came back. Megan's closet stayed shut. Josh started talking to us again. And me? I never followed another internet paranormal trend again. I learned 2 things that day. Lesson 1, never ever touch a Ouija board. Lesson 2, be careful what you open yourself up to. Curiosity can become an invitation you can't easily close. And to anyone even thinking about owning or purchasing a Ouija board, don't. No thrill, no curiosity, no "it's just a game" moment is worth what you might be inviting into your life. Some doors, once opened, don't close easily, and you might not be the one in control of who or what walks through.